Well, friends, it looks like yet another Donald Trump flunky is going from the frying pan into the fire. Steve Bannon, going from federal prison and upon his release, headed right back to court for another criminal prosecution. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, as you probably already know, longtime Donald Trump flunky Steve Bannon is serving a 4-month prison term for being convicted, after going to trial, of 2 counts of contempt of Congress. Why? Because he refused to comply with congressional subpoenas that sought information, that sought evidence about the crimes of Donald Trump. Among other information Congress was seeking in connection with the Capitol attack on January 6th. And rather than provide that information that would incriminate Donald Trump, Steve Bannon defied those congressional subpoenas, hid from Congress, and by extension, hid from the American people the incriminating evidence he could have provided about Donald Trump. And he was so determined to protect his benefactor, Donald Trump, that he went to trial, he got convicted, he got sentenced to 4 months in prison, and Bannon is presently serving that 4-month prison term. Well, friends, what does Steve Bannon have to look forward to upon his release? Well, just today, a New York judge set Steve Bannon's next criminal trial date. Steve Bannon will finish up his sentence on about November 1st, give or take a few days. And a judge just set Bannon's next criminal trial for December 9th. Let's start with the recent reporting. This from the Associated Press. Headline: Steve Bannon's trial in border wall fundraising case set for December after his ongoing prison term. And that article begins: while Steve Bannon serves a 4-month federal prison term, the conservative strategist now has a December date for a different trial in New York, where he's charged with scheming to con donors who gave money to build a border wall with Mexico. Friends, can I put a finer point on that? He's charged with criminally defrauding who? Donald Trump supporters. Only the best people. My editorial edition. The article continues. With Bannon excused from court because of his incarceration, a judge Tuesday scheduled jury selection to start December 9 in the We Build The Wall case. The trial had been expected as soon as September, but was postponed because Bannon, a longtime ally of former President Donald Trump, is in a federal penitentiary in Connecticut. Bannon is behind bars because he was convicted of defying a congressional subpoena related to the attack on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. He's due to be released in late October. The judge in the New York case, April Neubauer, said she wanted to allow enough time for Bannon to meet with his lawyers and review trial exhibits and things she described as difficult to go over during counsel visits in prison. After the jury is seated and opening statements are given, testimony is expected to take about a week. Prosecutors say Bannon helped funnel $100,000 to a co-founder of the nonprofit We Build The Wall Incorporated, who was getting a secret salary, though Bannon and others had promised donors that every dollar would be used to help construct a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. Quote, "All the money you give goes to building the wall," Bannon said in a June 2019 fundraiser. Bannon, 70, has pleaded not guilty to money laundering and conspiracy charges, and he's called the charges nonsense. Yet the accusations have dogged him from one court to another. He initially faced federal charges until that prosecution was cut short when Trump pardoned Bannon in the last hours of his presidency. Think about that, friends. Steve Bannon defrauds, allegedly, because, the charges are nonsense according to old Steve. Steve Bannon is indicted, is charged, will be tried for defrauding Trump's supporters out of their money. And then Donald Trump pardoned Steve Bannon when he was indicted federally for defrauding Trump's supporters. Trump just gave Bannon a pass for allegedly committing crimes against Trump's supporters. How much respect does Donald Trump have for his supporters, his constituents, the American people? Talk about adding insult to injury. The article continues. Presidential pardons apply only to federal charges, not state ones. And Bannon found himself facing state charges when Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, a Democrat, took up the We Build the Wall matter. 3 other men, those would be Steve Bannon's co-conspirators, 3 other men didn't get pardoned and are serving federal prison time in the case. 2 pleaded guilty and a 3rd was convicted at trial. And now it's Steve Bannon's turn. Well, at least it will be his turn to go to trial for the scam We Build the Wall Foundation after Steve Bannon finishes up his current prison term. And if there's any question about the strength of the case against Bannon and his co-conspirators, well, you just heard in the reporting that 2 of his co-conspirators pleaded guilty to being part of this scam, this conspiracy to defraud Trump's supporters, and a 3rd took his chances, went to trial, and was convicted. So what might the future hold in store for Steve Bannon when he's put on trial for the bogus We Build the Wall Foundation? Feels like Alvin Bragg's attorneys have a pretty good shot at holding Steve Bannon accountable for his crimes, convicting Steve Bannon, and seeking yet another prison term for Steve Bannon, who, as I say, looks like may go right from the frying pan into the fire. Because, justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.